After working in software development industry for more than 10 years and teaching many students, I realized there are only a few things that making your coding progress very slow. And the first one is not following coding standards. I cannot explain how bad it looks when a developer doesn't follow basic coding guidelines. Let's take a very simple example of naming conventions. If you are working with JavaScript, a function name or a variable name should be declared as camel case. For example, my variable name. And if you are working with Python, a function name should be in lowercase with words separated by underscores. And this is called snake case. For example, my function name. And in C# method name should be declared using Pascal case, which means the first letter of each word is capitalized. For example, my method name. Did you feel the difference? It's very easy to use coding conventions. And the second coding mistake that's slowing down your progress is skipping code reviews. Skipping code review is really bad, especially when you're working in a team. In the software development industry, it's rare to find a project where only one developer works all the time. Typically, you will collaborate with other colleagues. You should not skip code reviews. But I have seen many developers who bypass this step. Let me share a very important thing with you. By skipping code reviews, you're stopping your own growth. You close the feedback loop not only for your code but also for your career in long run. Code reviews are essential for catching mistakes, learning new techniques, and improving code quality. They provide you an opportunity for continuous learning and help you to make a better developer. And the next one in my list is ignoring unit tests. It's really common, especially in newbie software developers. Many feel overwhelmed by the dual task of writing code and writing unit tests. And when it comes to test-driven development, TDD in short, they feel it's more complex task. It's important to understand that unit testing is not a buzzword. It's significant enhance the quality of your code base. Unit tests help you to catch bugs at very early stage and they make a reliable software. And integration tests further ensure that different parts of your application work well together. Testing ultimately saves time in the long run by reducing the number of bugs and issues that crop up later on in the development cycle. For new developers, adopting a testing mindset early on is a valuable habit that will pay dividends throughout their careers. And the rule of thumb is write 3 to 5 unit tests per method. But in the beginning, try to write at least 1 unit test per method. And the next one in my list is ignoring documentation. Many developers miss the importance of writing clean and concise documentation. And here, I don't mean by this have to write hundreds of pages of documentation. In fact, your code speaks. This is exactly what I have already covered in this video, top 7 ways to document your code. I will add the link in the description so you can watch it later. But for now, let me highlight one important point. By taking the time to document your code in the right way, you can save countless hours that would otherwise be spent explaining your code to others. It reduces the learning curve for new team members and make the collaboration more efficient and effective. Additionally, well-documented code is easier to debug and maintain, as it provides clear insight into the code's logic and structure. And the next coding mistake that's slowing down your progress is poor version control practice. Before I dive deeper into this point, let me share a small and very interesting story with you. A few weeks ago, I got an email from one of the community members, and he was asking me this question. He said, I'm building a project, but I'm not using any source control. Is it right or wrong? Also, he mentioned I'm using USB stick to back up my project. Can you find one most important major issue with this approach? It's about missing learning opportunity. Not using version control means missing out on learning valuable skills that are essential in professional development environment. And if you really understand and use version control system for a hobby project like Git, it's an important for future projects and career growth. And it's free to use. There are many platforms available and it takes a minute to sign up and start using them. So I always encourage you to use the source control with best practices. And the next key point which is slowing down your coding progress is hard coding values. Hard coding values in your code is a common mistake that can lead to inflexibility and maintenance challenges. Instead of using hard code values, it's always good practice to use configuration values, environmental variables, or constants. When you hard code values, you make your code less adaptable to change. Not only this, it's hard to maintain and there may be many security issues, and it might have a huge impact. For example, if a value needs to be updated, you have to search thoroughly the entire code base to find and modify it. It increases the risk of errors and inconsistencies. No need to say, if you use configuration values instead of hard coding values, it's easy to understand and it's easy to maintain. And the next one, and probably one of the most interesting mistakes which making your coding progress slow, is poor error handling. Proper error handling is really important, especially in a production environment. And neglecting to implement robust error handling can lead to unhandled exceptions, crashes, and unpredictable behavior of your application. This is not only frustrates application users, but also makes debugging and maintenance much more challenging. So make a habit to implement proper error handling from the start. This practice ensures that your application can gracefully recover from errors and continue functioning, or at least fail in a controlled manner, which makes it more reliable and user-friendly. In fact, if you look at historical examples, such minor mistakes like poor error handling can lead to significant loss, even in millions. Writing clean code is important, but what truly makes a great developer is the ability to handle unexpected bugs and ensure security. I have covered this topic in more details in my video 5 coding mistakes you must avoid with real examples, and you can find the link in the description. Remember, a good developer not only tries to cover the happy path, but also he focuses and tries to cover the unhappy path, which is not visible to everyone.